Following the revelation of a bombshell new claim that has upended the core of love, the entertainment world is in complete astonishment. Nobody was prepared for the claims that this wasn't just a random act of violence, but rather a well-thought-out plan and, most astonishingly, a well-known love story. Hip-hop fans were still processing the violent attack on Kirk Frost, which left him hospitalized and resulted in several rumors. The personal attack was a direct result of Kirk's past conflict with this unidentified cast member. This was a warning, retaliation, or something darker, according to people with knowledge of the matter. They are also accusing the history pop star of being the brains behind it all. Social media is awash with rumors, and insiders are leaving cryptic hints as to who could be at fault. Even messier than you would have thought, the truth is finally coming to light. Hold on tight, for we will expose all of the scandal's startling facts, secret betrayals, and drama behind the scenes. To what extent is there a conspiracy to blame the Kirk Frost attack? Keep checking back as we reveal the latest startling twists in this developing tale. Hip-hop and romantic relationships have always been fraught with terrible drama, treachery, and tumultuous partnerships. But this, a regular on the show, Kirk Frost, was the target of a savage attack that left fans stunned after things took a dark and unexpected turn. One of the most startling scandals in reality TV. History has grown from what began as a chance event outside a luxury hotel. As further details emerged, it became clear that there was more going on than the initial claim that Kirk had been jumped by an angry fan. The internet was blazing with hypotheses when the news first broke, but many were wondering who would have a motive to attack Kirk, someone with a long-standing grudge, a rival cast member, or someone with a secret grievance. Not only was this an intentional attack, but it was also premeditated, and even more shockingly, there were rumors that a prominent love and hip-hop star may have been responsible. Despite his high-profile marriage to Yandy Smith and his controversial history, MD had never been known to have a serious problem with Kirk. In fact, they always seemed to get along well, both on and off the show. But as the investigation into potential male involvement in this incident progressed, the first important piece of evidence surfaced: a hotel CCTV film that had been released. As soon as the video of Kirk being attacked went viral, social media exploded. Initially, it didn't appear to disclose anything, as Kirk was shown going about his daily activities in the lobby with no idea of what was happening. But a mysterious figure emerged in the background just before the attack. Fans quickly analyzed every frame, zooming in, comparing, and examining the body structure despite the poor film. The character's clothing to recent posts on social media, and that's when the real crazy began. They started pointing out how much I resembled the unnamed character in the video. His physique, his way of walking, and even a special chain that gleamed in the blurry recordings. Soon after the incident, fans linked the ensemble to one that VCS Men had worn in an Instagram post a few days earlier. There was no hard proof that Mies was involved, despite the dubious footage, which is almost too much to overlook. That is, until some text messages that had been leaked surfaced online. Apparently, the texts included spooky conversations between male VCs and an unnamed contact. According to reports, one of the messages was sent barely 24 hours before the attack, and if it was real, the internet went berserk. Implied that the attack on Kirk had been directly organized by Meneses, but were they genuine? While some fans suggested they might have been fabricated, others said they were the clearest indication that something had gone wrong. The insider reports that an unnamed individual who was claiming to be a love and hip-hop producer then made even more shocking allegations. Tension between Kirk and Meneses had existed behind the scenes that were kept off camera for months. Kirk seems to have been negotiating a lucrative new contract with producers of love and hip-hop, which would have given him greater control over his narrative and a higher compensation. MDCs were allegedly feeling marginalized and disregarded in the meanwhile. The producer stated that there was a great deal of friction between the two men since MDCs felt like KK was taking center stage. A leaked voice recording allegedly revealing M himself detailing Kirk's attack was published just when fans thought the tale could get much wilder. The producer admitted that the animosity between them had been brewing for some time, although the recording was brief, just a few seconds, and submitted anonymously to a popular gossip blog. The words were inaccurate. On social media, it caused a stir. "I don't care what happens to him. Just make sure it's done." The voice, which sounded uncannily like male venture capitalists, sent fans into a frenzy. Had the recording been genuine, Mez would have effectively confessed. But was this a genuine confession, or was it a part of a sophisticated plot to frame him? More rumors were sparked by the ambiguity, and some fans were positive Mez was at fault. There were those who believed that someone was trying extra hard to get rid of him as the charges circulated so quickly. MCs, however, did something that increased suspicions. He became utterly silent. He didn't try to clear his name, post on social media, or do interviews. His sudden disappearance in May raised even more questions among admirers, who started to question whether he was telling the truth about rumors because he was often active on the internet. Either because he was hiding his guilt or because he was just waiting for the appropriate moment to come forward. The longer he didn't say anything, the more people assumed he was hiding something. However, a fresh report regarding police looking into M's possible role in Kirk's attack started to make the rounds late last night. According to some reports, authorities had already started interviewing his family members, while others claimed that M had fled into hiding to try to dodge the behind-the-scenes. Love and hip-hop executives were reportedly desperately attempting to decide how to address the incident. Are MDCs going to be removed from the show? Would they discuss the controversy on camera? Are they going to try to ignore it? They had separate Heat fans. While some were confident that the evidence was against him, others believed that he was innocent and that this was all a wild rumor that had been exaggerated. No one knew the exact path, but it was clear that this was quickly turning into one of the year's biggest reality TV scandals. Fans thought they had heard everything, but then a startling revelation appeared that changed everything. A former BC colleague who had reportedly been close to him for years came forward with, as per this insider, the conflict between Kirk and MCs was personal and went beyond romantic relationships, hip-hop contracts, or television drama. Men DCs believed Kirk had betrayed them in a way that went beyond merely taking revenge on Kirk, according to the unnamed source. This assertion completely upended social media. Although the details were not clear, there were rumors that Kirk had done something behind men's backs that made him feel inferior and ashamed. While some fans believed it was about Yandy, others wondered if it had anything to do with money, speculating that Kirk had blocked a business agreement that MCs were going to make. The men DCs learned of Kirk's private remarks about Yandy and never forgave them, according to whisperers. Were numerous, but one thing was for sure. If Means was the real culprit behind the attack, some time had been spent planning it. The CCTV tape then abruptly changed to show a different hotel camera in a fresh viewpoint. Although the quality was still poor, it showed something that the initial tape had overlooked. The dark figure, who many people thought was a male VC, wasn't by themselves. There was another person standing just as fans immediately started studying the footage, attempting to identify the second individual many feet away, with their face hidden behind a sweatshirt. Some believed it to be a close buddy of MDC, who had been spotted with him multiple times in the past few months. The most common idea was that the second individual was a hired assailant, while some believed it was just a random person who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong moment. Just as the internet was about to explode with yet another conspiracy theory, Yandy Smith finally spoke up. She addressed the rumors directly on Instagram Live, shaking her head and stating, "This is crazy," obviously unhappy and distressed. At this stage, his dirty labor was supposedly done by those who had been paid to do it. Stop trusting everything you read online, since men DCs had nothing to do with this. But Yandy's remark did more than quell the rumors. It made them worse. Although some fans pointed out that her voice was shaking a bit, as if she were afraid or holding something back, others saw that she wasn't as defensive as they had expected. The question, "Why is he hiding?" was then posed to her directly in the comments. There were a ton of theories on the internet about whether Yandy was lying to cover for him, shielding him, or knowing something but not being ready to reveal it. In a surprising turn of events, Kirk Frost's wife, Rashida, joined the conversation, further adding to the intrigue. There was a short, hardly noticeable silence before Yandy eventually stated, "He just doesn't want to feed into this nonsense." Shared an enigmatic Instagram story with just a few words that read, "Some people will do anything to stay relevant." Fans thought she was talking about male DCs, but when she forgot to name them, the comment sections erupted, with many tagging Yandy and MDCs and demanding explanations. At the same moment that fresh rumors emerged, Rashida, who usually avoids drama, had just fueled the flames. He reportedly refused to speak to anyone outside of his immediate family, and even producers from Hip Hop and Love were having problems getting out to him. Kirk was reportedly waiting for legal advice before speaking, but other media speculated that he was remaining silent because he was aware of the attackers but wasn't yet ready to name them. His silence, for whatever reason, only served to heighten suspicions, and when things couldn't get. Even stranger was the anonymous tipster who emailed a big gossip website claiming to have irrefutable evidence linking Nez to the raid. Fans went crazy when the website promised to publish the proof in a day. What might it be that would prove it all? A video, a voice recording, or a text message? Because of the intense anticipation, people stayed glued to their TVs in anticipation of the big announcement. Some believed it would finally show male DCS and professionals that he had orchestrated the attack, while others believed it may permanently clear his name. But what really transpired caught everyone off guard. Rather than providing concrete proof, the gossip website featured an interview with a man claiming to be one of my former friends. He made some grave claims that male DCs had been acting strangely for weeks before the attack, but his face was obscured for privacy. He insisted that days before the incident, despite the lack of hard evidence, male DCs had said something that resonated with him. "People should learn not to mess with me. I'd handle things my way." Fans weren't sure what to think, but on the one hand, this was simply one person's opinion directed at me. However, he asserted that male DCs had been secretly meeting with people, making late-night phone calls, and acting strangely. Rumors started to circulate that the producers of Love and Hip Hop were thinking about firing male DCS from the program, and behind the scenes, they were apparently in full crisis mode. If this individual was being honest, it indicated that I had been preparing something for some time. Social media was rocked by the interview, and MDC supporters rushed to his defense, condemning it as a desperate attempt to frame him. Fearing that the scandal would hurt the franchise if things got worse, they were scrambling to find a solution. As everything was going on, further concerns started to come up. If MDC had organized the attack, why was it solely motivated by TV, contracts, and jealousy, or was there another motive? Who, if anyone, was trying to set him up? Could it be that he was being taken down with the entire thing? There was division on the internet. Some fans were persuaded that M was guilty and that the truth would ultimately surface, while others were convinced that he was innocent and that everything was a huge misunderstanding. Nevertheless, one thing was for sure, this crisis was far from done, and just when it looked like things couldn't get much worse, yet another startling piece of information came to light that would turn everything upside down. Internet traffic was raging, and fans were riveted to their displays. When the next great revelation arrived sooner than anticipated, everyone was waiting for it. An audio tape that was leaked was the most incriminating piece of evidence yet, according to an exclusive article published by a well-known celebrity gossip blog. The informant, who asked not to be named, was adamant that this audio would prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Mess was directly responsible for the attack on Kirk Frost. It was late at night when the audio was posted. Fans flocked to listen, scrutinizing every word, breath, and second as it quickly went viral on social media. Notwithstanding its flaws, the recording was sufficient to rock the entertainment sector. There were two male voices talking about something in low tones that sounded uncannily similar to a prearranged altercation. One uncertain voice questioned, "Are you sure this is the right move? It needs to be done." Many fans were positive that the second voice was Mises due to the manner he spoke, the short pauses, and the familiar tone, even though the voices were distorted. The other replied, "Ain't no more talking." He crossed the queue, but there was a problem. His name was never stated in the audio, and there was no clear declaration that indicated, "I'm going after Kirk Frost." Instead, everything was ambiguous and open to interpretation. There are those out there who fabricate recordings in order to discredit MC. We're not going to play into these games. I don't know what you'll think. Even more upset than before, Yandy resorted to social media once more to declare, "This is getting ridiculous." Others speculated that it could indicate anything. Yandy had been attempting to keep everything under control. The harm had already been done, though, as the recording had amassed millions of views, and men say had already been convicted by the court of public opinion. It was getting worse because even people who had first backed him were starting to wonder why he hadn't stepped forward and spoken out. According to rumors, Kirk was upset about the incident and how everything had been handled, feeling that the program wasn't doing enough to keep him safe and that they were letting the issues spiral out of control for commercial purposes. Upon going home to recuperate, he made the surprising choice to immediately attend a private meeting with Love and hip-hop producers. After everything he had been through, insiders claimed that Kirk was thinking about quitting the show entirely. Although he stated that he would prefer not to be a part of a franchise that allowed such dangerous scenarios to happen, the producers of Love and Hip Hop weren't ready to let him go so easily. They gave him a huge incentive to stay, a special plot point about his recuperation, a chance to testify, and even a promise to take significant action against the person who did it. Accountable. But then the unimaginable occurred. An unexpected witness who no one had expected stepped forward. A security guard at the hotel where the attack took place. This individual claimed to have witnessed something that evening that could have turned the case upside down. What they revealed changed everything. The witness said, adding that there were a lot of people at the hotel that night, but not in the way that people had thought. The social media community was rocked by this discovery. Did M's presence at the hotel following the attack absolve him of responsibility, or was his purpose there to tidy up the mess? His anxious demeanor in the foyer, where he was pacing back and forth and making many phone calls, astounded his admirers. The guard was not able to hear what was spoken, but he did recall MC's tense, almost panicked body language. We're split up. Some thought the new material proved his innocence and that he had just gone there to find out more after learning about what had happened, but others thought this was just another part of a carefully orchestrated cover-up. He disclosed that the police were formally looking into MDCs before things could get any more out of control. Although they weren't yet labeling him a suspect, the fact that his name was even linked to an official investigation caused the internet to go into overdrive. He was a person of interest in connection with the attack. Is this the case, really? More than ever, hip-hop and Love fans were divided, and many were about to go afoul of the law again. Others supported him, claiming that this was simply another example of the media trying to undermine a successful black guy. Others, however, pointed out these males had a history with the law and that this might not be a coincidence, denying that where there was smoke, there was fire. As everything was going on, Yandy was dealing with criticism from fans, the media, and even some of her purported industry allies. She was being urged to leave him by some, who claimed that by remaining with him, Yandy was endangering her reputation and profession. She went all out, sharing a long Instagram post that said, "Loyalty isn't just a word, it's a lifestyle through thick and thin, through lies and truth. I stand by my husband." Ultimately, only God knows the whole story, so believe me, the truth will be revealed, but will it? That was the true query. Finally, Kirk Frost broke his silence by writing an enigmatic statement, as if the chaos wasn't already overwhelming enough. On Instagram, he simply said, "I know exactly who did this, and they know I know." The internet was stunned, wondering if he was referring to men in Washington, D.C. or someone else, or if he was just playing mind games. At this point, it was no longer just about the attack. It was also about Allegiant's betrayal and the terrible reality that was lurking beneath the surface, and supporters were eagerly awaiting what would happen next as the conjecture peaked. Social media was shaken by surface surf and the following bombshell that would completely upend everything: Kirk Frost's enigmatic Instagram post. They know that I am aware of who did this. Many fans were certain that Kirk was explicitly blaming MD, but others weren't so sure, and the internet was ablaze with rumors. Who else might it have been? Could Kirk have been playing, or was he planning a more significant reveal? One thing was certain nonetheless, though. Mess was now at the center of one of the largest scandals in hip-hop and love history. While fans awaited a response, an unidentified source began leaking text conversations that allegedly connected Mez to the attack, and images appeared online that allegedly depicted a dialogue between two. Everything was put up to look random, but believe me, he will always be there. The words from unknown persons were vague, but hinted at something evil. Even though there were no names, timestamps, or other information that would have linked M to the messages, his fans immediately began reading the material and assumed the worst. As everyone attempted to identify the person and ascertain whether they were involved, the rumor mill went into overdrive. Even genuine, but Rashida finally cracked the surface when it seemed like things couldn't get any stranger. As the charges grew, Kirk's wife, who had been silent and refusing to get involved in the drama for days, lost control and turned to Instagram Live, looking obviously exhausted, to confront the issue head-on. She stated, "You all need to stop playing with my husband's name," at the beginning in a frustrated tone. Supporters were waiting for Rashida to say if she believed that I was to blame, but she declined. "All I can say is that this man has had enough, and the truth always comes out." Instead of supporting him, they are out there spreading conspiracy theories and lies after he almost lost his life. All of you are genuinely exceptional. Nevertheless, NBC was compelled to speak forward after evading the media frenzy for several days. For the first time, he explicitly addressed the accusations in an exclusive interview, appearing tight and clearly frustrated. Was she merely attempting to maintain her neutrality, or did she actually believe the rumors? People were even more desperate for answers as a result of the ambiguity. "When you've done nothing wrong, it's amazing how easily people turn against you," he remarked, shaking his head. Directly, the interviewer asked him, "Did you have anything to do with Kirk Frost's attack?" "I have no reason to do that. I don't move like that, and honestly, I'm disgusted that people even think I would," MDC has said forcefully without hesitation. The interviewer didn't pause, so why do? Look, when you're in this industry, people will do anything to take you down. They don't want to see you win. They don't want to see you happy. And when they can't beat you fair and square, they make up lies, manipulate, and twist the truth. They believe it, which is why there are recordings, text messages, and all these so-called leaks that seem to point that way, NBC said after he let out a deep breath and massaged his temples. Fans were divided over the interview, with some believing he was being set up, others not believing he was, since his words sounded too planned and calculated, and he never explained why he was at the hotel that night, leaving fans to wonder why he was there. In the biggest shock to date, the police officially named the suspect in the attack, but it wasn't. When news broke that police had arrested a man who had no known connection to love and hip-hop, but who allegedly had a history of serving as muscle for some people in the industry, social media went crazy. Had he been innocent all along, or was he just a convenient scapegoat, or was this something new? Those who had been blaming me suddenly didn't know what to think. Fans went into a frenzy when Kirk Frost posted another mysterious message late at night, writing, "I see y'all trying to change the narrative, but trust me, I ain't done yet." What did Kirk mean? Was he still certain that MDs was involved, or was he hinting at a larger conspiracy? The bigger secret is that the drama was far from over. If anything, it was just getting started. While fans continue to dissect every clue and debate who should be trusted, one thing is for sure: This scandal has changed the course of love and hip-hop history forever. This story only gets stranger, and we know that everyone has their own opinions. Do you believe Mies was really innocent, or is there still dubious activity going on behind the scenes? What about Kirk? Who do you think he was? We will be keeping a close eye on this situation and will be the first to explain any new developments to you. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications so you don't miss the latest tea. This drama is far from over, and we assure you that you don't want to miss it. We're reading all of those cryptic posts, so feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. What happens next?